like you've had tonight, as Santander knew it the second he hit it. 0-1. Rutschman slices it foul, third base side, no balls and 2 strikes. It left his bat, he pounded his chest, and then he looked towards the Orioles dugout saying, I got you guys. The Orioles get 2 in the bottom of the 8th. They have a 9-7 lead, and hey, there's still nobody out.
421 feet on that one.
0-2. And now Javier's going to step off the rubber.
I mean, Montero comes in with a 2.5 ERA, base hit, Mountcastle, 2-run homer for Santander. It's like the Orioles have been the best offense in baseball.
Pitch in. Did that hit Rutschman in the leg or foot? No, it just missed. Somehow. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brandon Hyde thinks that maybe this ball hit Rutschman, and I think it might have hit the shin guard after it hit the glove of the catcher. Yeah, no, it didn't hit Rutschman, but it did hit Maldonado.
Well, usually we say great acting job. That time Rutschman had no reaction to it, so
1-2. Change up low.
Not surprised it didn't hit him. I mean, he had no reaction to it whatsoever, so that's a tough sell right there.
2 hits for Adley tonight. They're both singles. 2-2, nobody out. 9-7 Orioles off the Santander home run. Into the motion. Montero brings it. And it's outside. Full count. As a point of reference for how Montero had been pitching, 2 hits, no runs in his last 9 appearances. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Rutschman goes down on an elevated fastball. And yeah, during that time, Montero, 9 innings, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, no walks. And the other part of it, too, is that Montero has been nasty against left-handed hitters. But Santander didn't care. He sends one out, and Ryan McKenna, he is going to bat for the first time. McKenna came on as part of a double switch to get Bautista into the top spot in the order, as McKenna hacks and misses for an elevated fastball. And so Mullins had just hit. You lost the DH because you brought Rutschman into the game to catch. And so it allowed you to, by bringing McKenna in, to flip the pitcher spot to the top spot in the order, the 0-1. Broken bat pop-up. Coming in is Gurriel. He plays it on 1 bounce, and then he tags McKenna out as he nears first base. So Gurriel was kind of waiting. Am I going to get there or not? He let the ball bounce, and by the time he had it, McKenna was right at his chest. So he applies the tag, 2 outs, but 2 in, and the Orioles up 9-7. Now McKenna retired. And now Austin Hayes will bat. Montero's 20th pitch. And Hayes will swing and foul it off deep down the left side. A single for Hayes. He's reached on an error and scored. Down the board via fielder's choice. Now to 8.
So Lincoln comes to a very painful decision. He calls a cabinet meeting on September the 2nd, and he tells his cabinet that he is placing George McClellan in command of all the forces within the fortifications. He's very specific about that. He is not the commander of the troops that were put in the field. in the fortifications, because we haven't decided what we're going to do with McClellan yet. Now, Gideon Wells, who you see in the lower right, says there was a more disturbed and desponding feeling than I have ever witnessed in council. One of them, who was despondent, was Edwin Stanton to the left, the Secretary of War. He was trembling with rage. He despised McClellan so much. Someone allegedly said that he would favor the capture of Washington to the return of McClellan to command. Now, whether he really said that or not, I don't know, but he hated him. So they're not happy with Lincoln's decision. We thought we were going to get rid of McClellan. But things are going to get even worse, because it appears that the Confederate Army may possibly move into Maryland. And an order is sent to McClellan on September the 3rd, saying there's every possibility that the enemy, baffled in his intended capture of Washington, will cross the Potomac and make a raid into Maryland or Pennsylvania. A movable army must be immediately organized to meet him again in the field. Now, who's going to command that movable army? They don't say. They haven't picked them yet. On September the 5th, Lincoln will visit Ambrose Burnside and offer Burnside command of the army. And Burnside will tell the president he believes George McClellan is the best man to command this army. Now, McClellan will stab him in the back later on in this campaign, but I don't think McClellan even knew that Burnside had done that.
Scott Hartwick served as supervisory historian for Gettysburg National Military Park.
So Lincoln's kind of over a barrel. He doesn't really have any choice. And on September the 7th, he's going to visit McClellan at his house, which was also his headquarters in Washington, and he tells him, "General, you take command of the army in the field." Verbal command. Now, if you read McClellan, after the war, he tells you that he took command without any authority, that no one had the courage to put him back in command, so he just kind of took command. Now, I'm telling you, I'm not a McClellan basher, but there's not a chance on this earth that he did that. He had never been relieved of command, ever. The army just took his army away from him. All he needed was a verbal, "You're back in command of the field army." That's all he needed. So there's no question in my mind that Lincoln did that. Lincoln places him in command of the army, despite the fact that these two men, they have a little bit of a history, and most of it's one-sided. Lincoln can work with almost anybody. McClellan can't work with hardly anybody. He has problems throughout his entire life with superiors, always. We can see some of the things he had to say about the president. He's an idiot, August 16th, 1861. He's nothing more than a well-meaning baboon, October 1861. I went to tea to the White House shortly after tea, where I found the original gorilla, November 1861. And he doesn't spare the other guys. Gideon Wells is weaker than the most garrulous old woman you were ever annoyed by. He is funny. Secretary of State Seward was a meddling, officious, incompetent little puppy. Now, he's writing these things to his wife in private, but believe me, you know when someone feels a certain way about you, you can pick that up. And people have picked that up about McClellan. But Lincoln looks past this, and he places McClellan as the best man that he's got to command the army that's going to take the field against Robert E. Lee, who has invaded Maryland. Now, what's his mission? Protect Washington, D.C. Do not let them get the capital. He also has to protect Baltimore. Determine whether there is a Confederate army south of the Potomac. Yes, we know that some Confederates have invaded Maryland, but there are all types of rumors that there is a big Confederate force still in Northern Virginia. You have to determine that as well. Third, drive the Confederates out of Maryland. And Lincoln has a fourth thing that he needs McClellan to do. Give him a victory, so he can issue his Emancipation Proclamation. Now, this is one of the great ironies of the Maryland campaign. We need a general who doesn't believe in an Emancipation Proclamation to win the victory, to deliver it. That's what Lincoln needs from McClellan. So let's move to Lee. Why does Lee invade Maryland? Now we see the two armies, the big red dot and the blue dot. The blue dot's at Centreville, near Manassas, where the Battle of Second Manassas was fought. Washington is where all these Union troops are all gathered within the fortifications. So Lee has some options available to him. He has the initiative. Well, he's got three essential options that I see. First option, he can infest Washington, D.C., besiege the city. Now, he's not going to be able to besiege it. He can't cut the entire city off, but he can try to invest part of it. Well, what's the good thing on it? It maintains the pressure upon Lincoln and the Federal Army. Well, when you got an army outside your gates, that's pressure. What's the downside? Negative. His men can't eat. No supplies in Northern Virginia. No means of getting supplies. That option isn't going to work. Second option, withdraw to Warrenton. Reestablish your supply line. Re-equip your army is very poorly supplied. Re-equip your army, resupply your army, bring up some of the convalescent, wounded, and sick men that are in Richmond, and your army will be bigger. Safe move. It's a safe move. Negative. Surrender the initiative to the enemy. If you know anything about Robert E. Lee, he never, ever likes to do that. Invade Maryland. Third option. Leaves Northern Virginia open. All right? The battlefield at Second Manassas just starts trying to collect all its equipment off the field. You also give a break to the area of Northern Virginia. You also give the conscription officers an opportunity to get into areas to conscript soldiers in that area that have been overrun by the Yankees. Maintain the pressure on the Federals. They got to react. You go into Maryland, they have to react to that. You force the enemy to take the field before they are ready. That's why you don't want to go to Warrenton. They come at you when they want to. You force the issue, they come at you when you want them to. Before they're ready, before they're reorganized, before these 300,000 volunteers have been absorbed into the Army and trained. Get them out into the open, into the field, and fight them. You retain the initiative. You're calling the shots. There's a potential to invade Pennsylvania and influence the fall congressional elections. That's a biggie, really big. For Lee. Lee has once expressed to Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president, what he seeks are heavy victories. What he means by that is victories that do a lot of damage to the Federals, but the Confederates don't suffer as much. And that will undermine the morale of the Northern people. And the way they'll express their morale being undermined is they will vote out the Republicans and vote in the Democrats, who are far more likely to negotiate a peace settlement with the Confederacy. There's also a potential for European intervention if you're successful. Lee does not think there's going to be any European intervention, but some people do. But it is always the possibility. The negative, how are you going to supply the Army and the physical condition of the Army? That's a negative in any of them. You can look at the list. It's a no-brainer for Lee. We're going to go into Maryland. That's where we want to go. Now, Lee is going to write to Jefferson Davis on September the 4th. As this army is beginning to cross the Potomac River into Maryland, I am more fully persuaded of the benefits that will result from an expedition into Maryland, and I shall proceed to make the movement at once, unless you should signify your disapprobation. Should the results of the expedition justify it, I propose to enter Pennsylvania, unless you should deem it unadvisable upon political or other grounds. This is just pro forma stuff. Davis absolutely approves this movement. He's already moving. He's just showing deference to Davis. This was smart on Lee's part, because Davis didn't like people who didn't show him deference. And he's showing Davis deference. You are the president. I am following the strategic ideas that we had. We've already discussed these ideas. If this opportunity arose, that's why he knows that Davis is not going to say, no, I don't want you to go into Maryland. That's not a good idea. He knows Davis will approve it. He just wants Davis to feel like it's his idea and he is the approving official. So Lee has two choices on how he's going to go into